Hola a todos, bienvenido de nuevo a mi show de aces. Today, we'll be looking at Bloons Tower Defense 6. You might have played Bloons before. It was a popular series of flash tower defense games you could find on just about any online game site. If you haven't run into it, it's basically any old tower defense game, except most of the towers are monkeys and the enemies are balloons or balloons that contain smaller balloons. When popping balloons, you earn cash with which to spend on upgrading your towers. But this wasn't the first time the internet was graced with monkeys throwing darts at balloons. The tower defense game came after the series of puzzle games simply titled Bloons, where you were tasked with throwing darts at just the right trajectory to pop as many balloons as possible. Eventually the tower defense series came, of course. Honestly, the first few entries in the series are a bitch. They're super hard, at least to me. BTD 5, though, is a milestone in the series. It got super popular. It even featured microtransactions. Alright then. For a game that was primarily on the web, this was kinda odd. Later on, BTD Battles came out, a game with a bit of a spin on the series where you competed with another player by sending balloons to their side and trying to defend on yours. And finally, before heading into BTD 6, Bloons Monkey City came out, which I don't know much about. I think it was a Clash of Clans-esque game, what I know for sure is that the art style change was horrendous. Oh yeah, the art style was basically the complete same since BTD 1. It just got high definition as time went on. And then BTD 6 comes out. This time the art style changes again, but it isn't actually disgusting. It's actually quite appealing. It also still has microtransactions, but I'll get to those later. So the first thing I brought up about BTD 6 was the art style. I think it's really nice. It's a change from the nice and cute and classic art style, but it's still a very welcome change. I guess because the game was going 3D, it was going to have to change its look a bit. The characters are all very vibrant and animated, the environments look cool. I really don't know what else to say. They're great. And yeah, it's awesome. Moving on. In terms of gameplay, one big thing stands out for BTD 6, upgrade paths. In past Bloons games, there was typically only 2 upgrade paths for each tower, and as of BTD 5 and Battles, it just ended at 4 upgrades per path. You couldn't fully upgrade both paths, by the way. You had to choose one for the most part. Now in BTD 6 though, there are 3 paths for each tower that can go up to a 5th upgrade, with their own theme and attempted function. For instance, the bomb tower can either turn into a gigantic explosive stun machine, a missile launcher that targets Moabs, which are blimps, the bosses for the series, which are really fun, and a cluster bomb launcher that easily cleans up the surrounding area. You can turn your druid monkey into a storm wizard, a forest spirit, or an angry guy. You get the gist. On top of that, you can still pick another path to upgrade twice, enabling cross paths. This can get very interesting in terms of the metagame, knowing which combination of upgrades is the best. I find the sniper tower to be especially interesting in terms of cross paths. The upgrade paths are the core mechanic to this gameplay that allows so much replayability and experimenting. They hit the nail on the head here. Getting an upgrade that turns the tides of the game is also super satisfying. A lot of fun comes out of this game when you start using support towers that let you buff towers to increase their attack speed, damage, etc. Stacking basically every buff imaginable in a single tower and watching it shred the rubber in front of it is so cool. This idea also birthed a community challenge idea, 2 million pops, which involves getting a single tower to 2 million pops by round 100. There's also farming, surprisingly thrilling aspect of the game, although it may not seem like it at first. You can place banana farms in an effort to spend money to make money. This is, of course, at the cost of your current defense. Excessive farming, nicknamed by the community as greeding, can be your demise, or your eventual betterment. Letting your defense barely scrape by while you work the fields of banana trees is such a thrill, and it makes what looks like boring actually really fun. The normal game consists of 4 base difficulties: easy at 40 rounds, medium at 60 rounds, hard at 80, and as an offshoot of hard, impoppable, with 100 rounds and a final boss. Yeah, so the final boss of the game is just called the Bad, in keeping tradition with the boss balloons just being acronyms like Moab, BFB, ZOMG, and DDT. It's a gargantuan purple blimp that can't be slowed or stunned in the slightest, as far as I know. It makes a perfect final boss, even spawning DDTs and ZOMGs upon popping. So when you beat the Bad, is there anything left? Of course there is! And to ensure even more replayability, the game allows a free play mode, where you go past round 100 to extremely difficult extra rounds, where the balloons get faster and the blimps get stronger. This creates a really fun arcade mode where you start to fill the screen with towers and temples that just create a whole mess of light and particles while destroying huge waves of bads. My personal best is around 202, but people have gotten way higher. This game also introduces heroes. Ugh. Feels like every game nowadays has a hero system. I kinda groaned when I first saw these guys, but they grew on me. Their voice acting is a load of shit, but thankfully you can just turn it off. They must have known.
BAT! Gonna need more gas!
Oh, stop that. Get wrecked.
They're basically just place and forget towers. That sounds bad, but they're kinda cool. They level up as rounds pass on and don't upgrade. You can pay for their levels, but it's really not necessary. They give you special abilities and perform various functions, so you can pick different heroes based on what you think you'd like to do in a certain game. They're a pretty fun addition to the game and allow the devs to release updates more frequently, as they can just give them skins and an occasional new map. Helps to distinguish the game more from other entries in the series. The game has a ton of replay value with plenty of maps and different modes to choose from. It's addicting at first, and then after that, a nice game to keep coming back to for more fun. It also features a co-op mode where you and up to 3 other players can, well, play the game. Having 4 heroes is a lot of fun, but when you get to 3 and 4 players, the game, and especially the early game, becomes super slow. I don't mean in terms of being laggy and crashing a lot, although co-op has suffered from that a lot in the past, still a little now. But I mean in terms of cash flow. Basically, cash earned from popping balloons and finishing the round is split amongst the 4 players, which slows the game down to a halt, especially early on when there's not much cash to be had in the first place. You can request and share money, but good luck finding a person willing to give you some, especially when there's really no way of communicating besides icons that don't really help. Co-op would benefit so much from a text chat. I really don't know why there isn't one. I guess to protect kids, but I don't know, just have an option to turn it on? Co-op is still somewhat fun though. I'd stick to 2 to 3 players or find some friends. The game is only $10 and even went on sale once for a single dollar, so gather the buds for a night of Bloons, yeah. So there's microtransactions in this game, complete with a virtual currency that you can use to buy new heroes and skins and buy powers, among other uses. When I saw that this game had microtransactions, I was super skeptical. In fact, my initial thoughts on this game were pretty bad. But I did learn that you're basically a complete idiot if you spend a cent on this game. While I think it's kinda sucky that a paid game has microtransactions, you really don't need to spend an extra dollar at all. The virtual currency can be earned really easily and you rarely spend much of it. The only people that spend money on this game are either super lazy or super rich, likely a combination. So I wouldn't say it's very pay to win really. It's less of a microtransaction and more of a, hey, if you want to give us an extra buck, go ahead. You don't need to though. I really don't have many bad things to say about this game. Development can feel kinda slow, but the dev studio isn't the biggest in the world or anything. In fact, I'm thankful they got a sizable update out during these times. They tend to interact with their community quite a bit. One big fan of the series actually got hired and has a super chill YouTube channel that you should sub to. Co-op is quite flawed and some towers are a little overpowered and too weak, but these aren't really the biggest weak points. You should really give this game a try. Bloons Tower Defense 6, while simple and fun on the surface, has a surprising amount of depth to it which allows basically infinite replayability. They could just update this game for years without needing to make a sequel. It's perfect, like the epitome of BTD. I can't wait to see what they do in the future. So what do I rate this game? As if numbers mean something. Well, it's definitely the shit. Let's give it a 4.7 happy monkeys out of 5. Bye bye!
¡Arriba el